right.
Oh, it warned me that you're recording. That's fancy.
Are you prepared to record?
Yeah,
You've
I'm
been
good.
warned.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, we're here with on episode 5, I believe, maybe 4. Again, I still can't keep track of my own show, of what I'm calling All Charged Up. It's an unofficial name, but I'm going with it. I think it's cool. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm excited today because I have Joseph Herzog, who's also been, if you've searched Ford Lightning within the last year, you've bound to see a couple of his videos pop up, I'm sure, as well as Say, who was on last week. We're starting, as we were just saying before the podcast, like our own little mini Lightning community as we go. So I'm excited to have you here. Do you want to just do a quick intro of yourself and just kind of let the people who, for whatever reason, haven't seen you yet, could you fill them in?
Yeah. So I started a YouTube channel with this whole Lightning journey that we're all going on. And in hindsight, it may have been a little premature, but only because I'm sure we'll talk more about this later. But the reservation process has just been so crazy. And you said in a video, like, be on the lookout for email back in January. And then I had one. And then I went to my dealer and reserved. And turns out it wasn't my turn. It was a whole thing. But we'll get into that more later. But yeah, it's just a channel. I try not to overhype it. It's just a normal average guy going through the process. Not an expert, just one of many accounts of how this process is going, which I think is really important because I watched your episode with Say, S-E, Say, not Say. I watched your episode with Say, and his experience sounded so different from mine. And my experience sounds so different from yours so far. And I'm like, it's so important that we each document this, so that if Ford is Ford, which I'm sure they're not, but somewhere I hope they have a meeting room of people reviewing all of our footage to see how different all of these reservation processes are. So, yeah.
Do you think there is, though? Do you think there might be? Like, just
I hope so.
If one of, like, I have like 1 or 2 videos that maybe like cross like the 20K views range, but like nothing else that's like anything crazy. And one was called like, I don't know, Ford eliminating dealers or something like that. And I was like, why is this one getting popular? Like, I was afraid Ford would see that and then I'd never be able to like work with them or like get someone to be interviewed on the show or something. Like, I don't know. I was so, oddly, I think I could talk about this now. I had someone who was going to come on from Ford, and it was around that time. And then literally like a week later, they canceled on me. And I don't know if they just like, I don't know. They blamed it on the Lightning rollout, but I don't know. I'll never forget that. If it's like, what did I do wrong?
It seems
I don't
sketchy.
think I've been mean.
Well, to give you credit, when I'm really bored at work or trying to find new content, I just Google Ford Lightning News. That's my go-to. And your videos come up on Google like crazy. Now, I know there's an algorithm at play there, but I'd like to think if the average Joe who just heard about the Lightning goes to Google and says, tell me about the Ford Lightning, you are one of the first faces they see. So congrats. The algorithms are working for you.
It's awesome on one hand, but at the same time, it's like, I'm also just a guy. Like I literally just get my news and I just try to get it out there with what I know. So hopefully people realize that when they watch these videos. Like, I don't know. I don't work for Ford or anything. I'm just making as educated as guesses as possible.
Right. Well, the fact that you got the Ford guy from Long MacArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas, like that was our. I mean, he's technically from Ford, so I mean that's a huge win for you, I would say.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. I reached out to Tim right after that too, because I did want someone from Ford because, that's mostly what we talk about here. But you said something a little bit ago, and I feel like let's just talk about it right now. You said your ordering experience was so different from Say's and from mine, and probably from a bunch of other people who you've either heard on the forum or whatever. What was the key thing that made it different? Or like, if you want to do an abridged version of what it looked like, what was that?
I tend to be long-winded, so feel free to cut me off whenever. But
same. All good.
First video, it was me being hyped because I mentioned you, and I was like, the guy on YouTube, Larry, he said to look for an email. I have an email. Like, I'm first in line, because back then none of us knew what was going on. And so Sure enough, I went to my dealer the next day in person. I sat down. I submitted a build. We went through all the all the specs I wanted. I'm exclusively interested in the Pro trim. I should put that out there. And my channel tends to skew more towards the Pro, just because that's the one I want at the moment.
Yeah.
And so the guy looked me in the eye and said, all right, he said, I'm not authorized to submit your build, but the sales manager is, and he's in tomorrow. And so tomorrow he'll submit your build. And I'm like, great.
Wow.
And he asked for $1,000. And I was like, oh, is this like a markup or what's happening here? And he said, no, it's just a good faith deposit. It goes towards the value of the truck. I'm like, awesome. But it was 1,000, which was a weird number because I had heard 500 from other people. And so sure enough, I gave him the card. And over the next 7 days, I kept calling, trying to get in touch with this magic sales manager that was supposed to be submitting my build. And I was really paranoid, these days are passing and other Lightnings at other dealers are jumping me in line right now. We need to get this moving. And then also during those 7 days, I'm getting info from you. I'm getting info from other YouTubers saying, about the waves, which they had not even heard of at this point, my dealer. And so it was near catastrophic levels of miscommunication because ultimately he was like, no, we're not submitting your order. We're stockpiling all the reservations. We're just getting everybody in right off the bat so that we've got the builds. And then we're going to submit them in wave order, basically, whenever it's your turn. But they kept $1,000. So I'm like, I paid $1,000, basically for nothing. It still goes towards the truck.
Right.
But that is really the most exciting part of my process thus far, only because it doesn't really line up with anything anyone else experienced. And then Say, I got so nervous for Say. He's like, they wouldn't take my money. I'm like, well, then have they even submitted the build? I'm nervous for all of us, even still.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Ford is still struggling to figure out how they want to do this.
You know what?
At the dealership level.
Just to cut in on Say's, I think we talked a little afterwards, but yeah, it's what was it? It was something he wasn't able to edit only his Ford manager is. I need to talk to him and find out how that played out because that scares me. What if they jumped the gun like you did and they just, it's sad that some of these dealers literally are just treating it like the Bronco or whatever the last thing was and assuming that's how it went. And so they took your order and they would submit it when they get their allocation, which honestly doesn't sound too bad. At least you're if you were going to buy through them anyway, you just kind of sped it up for when you do get to order. So it's not the end of the world, but if you can't, what if he's in the same boat as you and just doesn't know it? I don't think that's the case because he did get a Ford email.
It's probably not.
But you just don't know, right? You just don't know.
Yeah. It makes me nervous. And they did cite when I had to issue a formal video 3 days later, the joys of being a YouTuber. I didn't want anybody to think I was lying to them intentionally. So I had to submit another video saying, I guess I didn't really submit an order. Sorry if you thought I lied. Where was I going with that? Yeah, it's fine. I'm pretty laid back and I knew since January about kind of the waves. I learned when we all did. So I didn't get my hopes up, but imagine someone who wasn't in this ecosystem and just the guy tells you face to face, we're submitting your order tomorrow. And then it just doesn't happen. That would, I think, make a lot of people walk away. So, it didn't cost them my particular sale of a Lightning, but it could have. I don't know. It's crazy.
But it also sucks because if you did want to walk away, there's not a path really to go down, unfortunately. You can move dealers, but then you're literally, in every sense of the word, you're shaking the dice. You are getting a random number at a new place. But as I mentioned in a couple other videos of when people were getting they're getting to make their order and then they're getting hit with markups or whatever, Ford does let you change your dealer at that point. So that's great. A great thing to know. If you guys haven't seen that video or whatever, there's a number to call. You can talk to the branch manager or whatever their title is, and they will trade you to a new dealer. And I think you get to keep your place in line too. They'll just move the allotment to the dealer, which is great. So don't just roll over is I think what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and I I'm naive, I'm optimistic, but I still find it hard to believe, and I'm not doubting anything that we've heard, that if it's your turn, they're going to submit your order. They say, we're charging you $10,000 extra. Like, my understanding was that if you say, nope, I'm pulling the plug, no markup, no lightning for me, I'm walking away, I don't think Ford gets that slot, like the dealer. I don't think. Again, this is just, we're just two average Joes. I would be astounded at the audacity of how just blatantly wrong that is, and that it ever happened. That would blow my mind.
So they do get to actually keep it if you walk away. They'll just take the order.
Insane to me.
Because they could just submit the order under your name. If you tell them no, they'll still submit the order, get it on their lot, and then you've already walked away, so it means nothing to you at that point. The dealer just tracks it throughout the thing.
Well, and that, I'm surprised that in some fine print somewhere, they're allowed to submit an order as someone that is not themselves. You know what I mean? Like, they're a Ford dealer reserving it for themselves.
You know, I should disclaim
like,
that
John
is...
Smith.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but I should say that's only things I've heard. I don't know if that's actually true, for the record. Yeah.
I don't either. I just would be astounded. Like, I don't want to throw the word illegal around, but I'm like, that to me sounds pretty, like, if there's got to be fine print somewhere that says it's reserved for Larry Lynch, and then the truck shows up. Like, I'd like to think Ford follows it through to the truck made it to Larry Lynch. I would like to think, but I'm giving them too much credit.
Well, they don't, because the second, if you just think about, like, you don't buy the car till it's on the lot and then you actually purchase it. It's just a reservation, which technically means nothing. So the second it comes in, and like, that's where we're going to see even more shady stuff, it's going to come on lot, and they're going to say, by the way, give me an extra 10 grand. And then they get to keep it, because then what else are they going to do? You can't take that. You can't physically take the vehicle to another dealer. And I'm worried about what happens there.
Well, speaking of markups, this was another subject of a quick video that I did, which was I kept hounding my dealer because he said they're not doing markups, and I was like, that's great, gold star. Like, let's get that in writing. And it took a few phone calls and it took a few emails, and then finally I get an email from them it's a Word document. It has their logo clip art at the top, and it's just typed out. It's not even addressed to Joseph Herzog. It's just like, this is to confirm that there will be no dealer markups. And then the name of the sales manager, no signature, no nothing. I'm like, guys, I could have made this. Like, this doesn't do me any good. I mean, it's better than nothing, but and they were understanding. I'm like, you have to, and I'll wave that piece of paper around like crazy when they tell me there is the markup.
Was it like
and
via
they'll be like,
an email?
It's in an email, and I guess it is from. I could show them, like, this is from your sales guy.
Yeah.
It's just, if this process ends up taking 18 months, what are the odds that guy's still going to be there in 18 months? You never know. So I am a little nervous for that stage as well.
Yeah.
But I was thrilled to hear that he doesn't have, they're not doing any markups at my dealer. So fingers crossed that they hold true to that.
Yeah. I've been told no markups, then, oh yeah, by the way, there is markup, and then we're back to no markups right now. So we'll see what next week brings. It'll just keep changing. That's so wild. I'm going to go ahead and pivot here because there's something else. Well, sorry, unless you had more to say, but were you done with that? I don't want to cut you off.
No.
Cool. I think you'll like this.
That's the whole story. You're good.
Sorry, and for viewers right now, there's just a small like lag delay or something. I don't know if it's on your end too, Joseph. I apologize if so. Okay, so it sounds like I'm bad at talking, and I am, but not as bad as it sounds like I am. So just get in front of that. Anyway, the something that came out yesterday, tell me if you've heard about this, was the Ford Lightning will become the first electric pickup to pace a NASCAR race.
I did see that.
So my question to you, and I might as well just share my screen here. Can you tell them into e-bikes? Look at all my ads.
I love the e-bike ads.
So carscoops.com. Do you know much about the NASCAR at all? Because I must be first to admit I don't.
I'm really into Formula One.
Okay.
I got hooked on the series a few years ago, and now I watch all the races. NASCAR, not so much.
Sure.
I know what a pace car is. All the like heavy duty truck guys are tuning out right now. Now that I'm talking smack about NASCAR, but no, this is really cool. My only question is, doesn't the Lightning have like 115-mile-an-hour speed limit? Like it tops out?
So,
or am I making that up?
No, I think it's, I don't know what it exactly is, but that's some of my questions too, is like, what if like this is like the first time it's doing a job? Like, what if it's on display and something happens? Like, I'm kind of excited. I don't watch NASCAR again. It's just, I don't have anything against that. I just don't have the attention span. But so pace car, it doesn't have to go that fast, right? It's
right. I guess the point is to be slow.
Yeah. I wonder if it says here speed. You're right. There's someone watching this like, these idiots have no idea what a pace car is.
Right.
Oh.
But I will say, if their goal is to get hippie EV enthusiasts to tune into that race, I thought about it.
Yeah, right.
So it's working. If they're trying to branch out, yeah. I think I can't think of anything that could happen at the race that would be more catastrophic. And the window breaking on the Cybertruck in front of all those people. So it would only level the playing field if it does break down in Martinsville.
That would be, I don't even know. I don't want to put anything out there because you never know.
Right. It'd be hard to stick Ford tough slogan if it does crap up after a few laps, but we'll see. At
least I'd have something to make a video about, which would be great.
Yeah. I can relate.
Yeah. So I found that pretty interesting. I wish there's more to talk about on this now that I'm like, actually like, do you have this when you like try to think of like videos? It's like something that like this is very interesting. Like it's not uninteresting, but how do you fill a whole video with just this, you know, like,
right.
Which I love having this kind of podcast sort of thing now. So we could cover stuff like this and, I can also get someone else's take, which reminds me, this is the wrong article. As you could tell, I'm very prepared. Okay, so I wanted to just bring up a picture of, I guess here's a picture on the side.
Yeah.
So Ford has an answer to the crab walk, which first of all, I want to discuss, is that something that like appeals to you? Like I get that like it's cool to finally have a truck that doesn't have the world's largest turn radius. Like that's pretty great.
Right.
But I don't know, is it like the fact that Ford is jumping after this, like it's a must have on the vehicle? I guess I don't see the rush to do something like that. But maybe I'm wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong. What are your thoughts?
So I think it's inevitably something that drives the cost up. And so even if this was available on all four Lightning trims, and it was like extra $3,000 for crab walk, it's not something I'm putting my money towards personally.
Great point.
But crab walk, I'm like, I'm never going to use that. But four-wheel steering in general, I would love to have on a vehicle. But I mean, I like to think, again, since I'm interested in the Pro, I'm looking for like the budget, best bang for your buck Lightning. And so even if they had it on the Lightning, I don't think I would spring for it. Yeah. But it's definitely cool. And I think as they're trying to get these trucks into the hands of not only people out in rural areas, but also people in the city, like a smaller turning radius is a huge selling point. So I get it. And I mean, I don't think they'd be left in the dust. Didn't come up with a way to implement it on a future EV truck, but it's one of those where I'm like, I mean, I reserved the Chevy Silverado, and I wanted to pick your brain on that. Yeah. You said in your last podcast that you also have a reservation, right? I
did it day one for the same reason that any other Ford person did. It's because I'm so jealous of the day one Ford Lightning guys. Like I didn't like postpone it. The second I saw the Lightning, I got it. I just wasn't into like EV world as much as I am now. So like by the time it came across my desk, I think it was like Do you watch, it was like Peter McKinnon and Unbox Therapy's video of the Lightning?
Yeah.
I saw that video and reserved it not 10 minutes after watching it, if not in the middle of the video.
Yeah. You have no idea how much I can relate to everything you're saying right now. Because I'm not a day one reservation holder either. But I learned from this experience, I'm like, a day one reservation is worth a lot more than $100. Yeah. So once Silverado announced, I was like, day one, just here's $100 just in case. I can take it back whenever. But yeah, I think I was more like day 5 or 7. Because my friend texted me on day one, and he was like, I know you're into EVs. Like, what do you think of this Lightning? And I wish I had a video recording of my initial reaction. I was like, it's boring. Like, they took no risks. Looks just like every other F-150. Like, I don't need a pickup truck. Wow, they really dropped the ball. And then after mulling it over and hearing the price and all-wheel drive is standard and a 12-inch touchscreen, I'm like, oh, this is a steal.
It is.
And so I've been kicking myself for, 8 months now. Well, no, almost a year now for not wising up and reserving quicker.
Yeah.
What day did you reserve on, Larry?
So I don't know the exact date. It's May, sometime in May, later May, late May. I could pull it up, but I don't want to do that on the podcast. I could tell you afterwards. But yeah, I was like late. Like I was nowhere near like first week even. Like I was when like May makes me even a month out. Like yeah. So that's why I was like, well, all right, here's something I'm going to say very controversial. I'm going to say it now.
I'm ready. It's a hot take.
Even if like you said something that triggered this thought is it's worth more than $100, right? And it's that for a lot of reasons. I don't know if you've seen this. There's a Rivian up for bid right now. There's still 7 days left, and it's already up to like $107,000. It's on Doug DeMuro's Cars and Bids site. And I'm not saying I would do this because it's obviously sketchy and like it's ruining car prices right now. But if you have that reservation, that's one of the best investments financially you could do is to buy and sell one of these things. Again, not advocating this, not trying to advocate this. Don't kill me in the comments. But I'm saying it literally has a financial value to own this reservation. Now, what I would do if I have mine, I think I'm going to buy the Silverado no matter what, honestly. And it's just, I'll have the Lightning hopefully for a year or so, and then I'll just get a Silverado. As long as the market stays as is, like I'm okay with like taking $1,000 or $2,000 hit at the end of the year to get a new vehicle. A lot of it has to do with like this channel. Like I will actually probably make that the difference of switching vehicles. I can make that up in my YouTube videos, and I get to try more stuff out. So that excites me, and I really just can't wait. However, my dad got one too. So like my dad and I did it like we were next to each other. I gave him one of my laptops and we literally both reserved at the same time at different dealers. Yeah. So I'll work with him to let him get the first one between us. And then from there, I'll get the other one. But I think that's kind of exciting too, because it's now something I get to do with my dad.
Oh, for sure. I was watching a different YouTube channel and he basically, I happened to stumble onto like his last video regarding the Lightning, and he said, I canceled my reservation. I was so disappointed with the service I was getting at my dealer. And one of the 3 rationales for why he canceled was he was like, what's the point of continuing to wait? He said his argument was that a 2023 Lightning would be obsolete by 2025, which to your point, I had to disagree, because a concrete electric truck that you can get your hands on is going to be worth its weight in gold. I mean, just because they might do a refresh in a couple years doesn't mean, like that refresh is going to be the same thing we're dealing with now. You're going to reserve it. You're going to wait 18 months and they're going to trickle out one by one. And so back to our original point, like, $100 for a reservation at the shot to just eventually own one of these, drive it for a year, sell it, whatever you want to do. Like the value is only going to go up because these EV trucks are so hard to come by right now.
Yeah. And part of it scares me, like, because we're unalone at this mentality like that. I don't know. Like, I'm scared where the market will go with this. Like, hopefully the availability goes up and then it becomes a little more less chaotic to do this kind of stuff. I don't know, man. It's a wild world, but that's the appeal to it for me right now anyway, is like, it's wild.
Yeah. Well, so to touch on availability and pricing and all that, I'm sure you peeked into like the window stickers that got leaked a few weeks ago with like all the different trims and all that. So, the one that caught my eye was the fleet version. And I have to think a lot of people maybe passed that one up because they're like, well, I can't get my hands on one of those anyways. What's the point of pouring over this fleet Pro trim
Lightning?
Lightning?
See if I can pull it up while you're talking.
But I feel like I learned a lot from that window sticker. Yeah. What I realized is, like, obviously we've all known this entire time that the only way to get a Pro Lightning with an extended range battery is to be a fleet customer. But what popped into my head was that as a fleet customer of a Ford Lightning, do they have to sign something saying they won't resell it? Or like after a year, could they say, yeah, we've done the EV thing, it's not working out? Which brings me to, like, couldn't regular consumers just buy extended range Pro Lightnings on the secondhand market in like a year? Well, and what else is crazy, if you look closely, they're not even charging these fleet customers for the Ford Charge Station Pro.
Or,
so
well,
they're only
comes
charging
with
$8,700.
That comes with the extended range.
Right. But like, we kept hearing a Lightning is this much. For another $10,000, you get the extended range battery. So like, you could get your hands on a Pro Lightning with an extended range battery for way less than that 300-mile XLT. I don't know. I know I'm getting into the weeds here on numbers and stuff, but this just blew my mind. Like, have you heard anything? Like, are fleets under some special contract where they have to give the truck back if they're not liking it, or are we going to see possibly 300-mile range Pro Lightnings for sale for like, even if they mark this up a little bit, like for $55,000? Because what's the cheapest XLT with the extended range? Like 65 or something crazy?
Yeah. So to your point, no, I don't know if that's a rule, but it wouldn't be the way you said it, right? They wouldn't make you give a car back if you don't want it. Like, that's like you own a vehicle. So I think what you're touching on, though, is actually pretty cool to think about. Like the fact that some of these, and hopefully, honestly, this is just a 1-year precaution, because otherwise everyone would have gone for this. And well, I guess they made a limited amount anyway, so they could have just done that. I really don't know. I can't get into Ford's head why they did this, honestly. Like, it's still one of the things I'm like most like boggled at. Like, it's like, why? Maybe it was the price point, because at $50,000 for the extended range, everyone would have just went for it. And like, again, I really don't know. They would have made too good of a product.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they do that?
Yeah, I agree. I think they kind of had a paywall in mind. They're like, we're not letting anybody get 300 miles for less than X. And which this stumbles us on to my other big fear. I know you're interested in a Lariat, correct? I'm
torn. I just want the tires that come on the Lariat, or the wheels. For some reason, that makes the vehicle for me. So I'm down to just do the upgraded XLT as well. I'm living with my Tesla has 320 miles range. It's more than enough. So I could live with the lower battery, I think. It really comes down to what I can order at the time. I'll probably, if it's like the same thing where I get to order and it's like only one left, I'll probably just get the one I could get.
Yeah. Well, this brings me, I mean, like, I'm very nervous, having seen, like we touched on, they didn't make a lot of Pros in the first year. And I'm nervous. A lot of the comments on my channel mentioned the phrase bait and switch. Like, they think it's going to just trickle down from here. Like they're going to keep making them for the fleet customers. And then because they aren't making enough money on this price point, they're going to not make it anymore. And I'm just nervous. And I don't know if I'm coming to you for reassurance or what, but I don't know. Like I would like to think that they're going to stick with this. I think they really like being able to advertise that it starts under $40,000. And so I'd like to think they're going to stick with it. But gosh, I would just be devastated if my name comes up and they're like, nah, we're not doing the Pro for 2023.
They won't do that.
So I'm kind of on the edge of my seat until June.
I really don't see a world where they would do that. They could, don't get me wrong, but like it would just be, you got to imagine of the 200,000 sticker or reservations they sold, that maybe, and I know this statistic's out there somewhere, but a lot of it was for the Pro. It was obviously the most popular one. So I don't think they'd ever eliminate it. However, I do see a world where some sort of pricing goes up. And I think I've mentioned this probably too much now. I wouldn't be surprised to see the sticker we're looking at here is the only Pro you could buy next year. Is where, go ahead.
Which I would buy in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think so.
Like when I saw this sticker, it gave me hope because 230 miles is fine. I drive a Dodge Charger right now, so I'm firmly in the internal combustion lifestyle. And so the more range, the better for me as someone who's worried about range anxiety. But if this is what they walk out as the Pro next year, I mean, it's a bummer that it probably prices a lot of people out, that extra $10,000, but
I know it's like, and maybe they won't go a full 10K, but so the only reason they would eliminate it is if it's actually financially hurting them, right? Which I don't see them have ever introducing a vehicle at this price if they thought it would ever hurt them, right? Like they people's full-time jobs, teams to come up with pricing and all of this stuff. And whether it was the Tesla Cybertruck that like sparked it and like they knew they had to get to that price point. So if they matched that just to match that, then I do see a world where like, oh no, they could, because the Tesla is nowhere near done and they don't have to compete with that and they're going to raise the price. But if they just price that out because that's what the analysts thought it should be priced, which we probably know it's probably a little more A than B here, but that means it'll stay that price and just go up like with inflation or parts costs. So I'm excited to see what happens, but at the same time, like I don't see it going away.
Well, thank you. I will sleep easy tonight.
Okay, but I don't know what I'm talking about too. Don't sleep easy because of me.
Well, I worry sometimes watching YouTube videos that I'm the only person. There's so much negativity sometimes in YouTube comments of people that are like, "Oh, this is never gonna last," and the Pro is not really gonna, So it's refreshing to hear another optimistic take at the very least. Maybe it's not realistic on my part or yours, but I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful.
Good.
But it surprised me to see that, like, this whole extended range $10,000 thing, it's lumped in the Charger. Like, I feel like normally they would say, no, we're not going to let you. If I said I already have a charging solution at home, do you think they would let you take off the Charge Station Pro and give you a $1,300 discount? Of course not, right?
Sorry, friend.
So I thought it was cool to see that they are willing. Yeah, I thought it was cool to see that they're willing to do it for fleets.
Oh, that was a discount?
So, like, maybe down the line, that's something we'll get towards. If you look, I swear, this blew my mind. I did a whole live stream about it.
I do see it now.
So in that left column, you can see it says Ford Charge Station Pro Delete right there on the bottom left, minus $1,295. And then on the right, you can see total options is only $8,700. So that's the price of the battery minus the charging station.
Okay, I get what you're saying earlier now too. That is very interesting. The only thing, so maybe, first of all, maybe, but also I think what fleets are buying is like their own charging like system. Like it's like a bunch of them. So I think they buy that separately. Therefore, they don't need this, and Ford would be wrong to charge them for it. I don't know though.
Yeah. Well, can I ask, how do you charge? like what home charging solution do you have right now?
You know what? I'm glad you brought this up because I keep thinking I want to make a video about this and I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But I've never installed anything. I literally use the standard Edison, like 15 amp or 30 amp.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It really is just fine. Like, because my lifestyle isn't crazy. I don't drive more than 50 miles a day.
Yeah.
So I come home, I plug it in, it charges almost back to where it was overnight, and then I'm fine.
Wow. Yeah, the landscape of home charging solutions I thought was going to be very simple because I was like, well, there's probably not a lot of reputable brands making them, and Ford has an option, and I was like, that's not a headache, whatever. But now to see that Ford has these options, and then you've got like ChargePoint and all these other home solutions, I almost get overwhelmed. I've thought about making a video too, and I'm like, there's too many options. I don't know enough about amps and this and that and NEMA 1450. So it's a mountain that I haven't even tried to climb, but I mean, I know you've given him a shout out already, but Tom Maloney's videos are incredible.
He's the
home charging
master
stuff, and I mean, he's already got a bajillion subscribers, so he doesn't need a shout out from me. But yeah, well, and then the other little controversy, just to get it on air in case you haven't heard, but so do you remember back when they were doing that little, like, they would hop to different cities and they were in a big parking lot and they had a tent and they would do a quick little test drive? They had these materials. It was like that same Ford copyright stuff where it's a blue background and white text, and they had the 3 different charging options. It was like your mobile charger, the 40 amp Ford charger, and then the 80 amp Charge Station Pro. Well, as of March, they have completely stopped mentioning that middle charging option. And so I'm a little nervous that they just aren't selling that anymore, or they stopped mentioning it in hopes that more people buy the Ford Charge Station Pro, like, since it's more expensive. I don't know.
So,
but if anybody in the comments,
I might have an answer for you here.
Yeah, that's the image. That's it.
So which one do you think is not mentioned anymore? This one?
In their March charging live stream, they made absolutely no mention of the 48 amp.
So this is the one you can get for a Mach-E right now. This is available still.
And it's $800. It's still on their website.
You don't even have to get the Ford one, honestly. Like, this is just a standard, what is it, JS? I can never get all the numbers, but yeah. So you can get this in like any brand as just like standard, the ChargePoint one, for instance. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't even recommend getting the Ford one unless you're getting the Charge Station Pro, because this is an extra $300 or $400.
That's an interesting point, because I guess my thought was if there's any cool functionality of keeping it within that ecosystem of like, oh, now I can do through the app, like tell it to stop charging at 85% or something. And my other thing for my cost effective, friendly people, if you buy it from Ford, you can roll it into your financing. Whereas if you go to Amazon and you're like, let me buy a ChargePoint, then I guess there's financing options on Amazon too, but that was just one thing I liked. Yeah, and I found this page, and it doesn't mention the Lightning anywhere.
So it totally works. It might not have like the app functions that you're hoping to have, but it's got to have something. I do like the idea of wrapping it in with a bundle, so you don't have to spend an extra $800. But like, they're overcharging for this so much. Like the Tesla one's like $400 or $500. True. One, I won't say their name because I don't know if I'm going to work with them, but a charging company has reached out to me that I might like review some of their stuff. I really like their products, but again, I don't know if I'm going to work with them, so I don't want to say them. And they're only like $200 or $300, and they look great. So like, I mean, if it is what you said, and it like communicates with the car the way that like Tesla stations do and stuff like that, then maybe I'd spring for it. But if not, first of all, sorry, I'll say one more thing, and then I'll give you the mic. But I keep saying, like I just said, my Tesla, I don't have to have like a bigger charger. I almost forgot how big the damn Lightning battery is to charge up that battery to get to the percent needed. You might need this. It might not be an option to use like these numbers that we see here. Let's see.
14 hours.
Or this is with NEMA though. Oh no, standard range 14 hours. To do what? Oh, to go from 15? I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, and
19 hours. Okay, sorry, I had it flip.
If you're commuting, that's probably sufficient. If you're commuting, the mobile charger is probably sufficient. Like if you're just driving around town or whatever. But yeah, I would be nervous trying to survive on just the mobile charger.
Yeah.
But I guess my at the very least, I'm not saying go buy the Ford 48 amp charge station. I guess my good deed for the day is just reminding people, don't let Ford tell you it's not an option, because it is. They're just not telling us anymore because they secretly want people to buy the Ford charge station Pro.
That's a good point because they'll love to. But at the same time, now that you say that, well, I guess 400 is, if you're wrapping in 400 extra dollars to like a $40,000 or $50,000 vehicle, I almost would recommend just springing for this, right? Well, no, because then, either way, you need it installed. This will probably be more.
But sorry, I'm excited. So
please, it's all Zoom's fault,
over you. I'm so sorry. but see, and then I thought the same thing, Larry. But then when I saw that as a standard range person, that they both charge in 10 hours, like that, to me, I was like, I don't know why I would ever get the Ford Charge Station Pro, but I'm sure I'll change my mind 50 times between now and.
You could do like the backup power and stuff with the Ford Charge Pro.
That's true. That is true. And for me personally, that's not a feature I don't think I'm going to pay extra for the Sunrun and the home switch and all that, for me personally. But yes, if you want that backup power, you definitely.
We should poll our audiences. Hey, if anyone's watching this to this point in the video, thank you. And also, I want to know, because I don't care about the power of the home thing. I think it's all marketing and gimmicky. Like, that's everyone I talk to who's like doesn't know about it. They say, "Oh, the Lightning, the one that can power your house, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but like I would never use that. I don't know. It just, I mean, maybe I would. It'd be cool to have, but like that's not why I'm buying this at all.
Right. It strikes me as a peace of mind thing. It's just like car insurance or home insurance or whatever. Like if I don't live in Texas, but if I went through those power outages last year, I'm sure for those people, it's a pittance just for the peace of mind of knowing that they won't go through what they went through last year. I mean, I live in Cincinnati. We didn't have anything like that here. So for me, it's not a huge selling point. But yeah, I'm not like clamoring to call Sunrun and get it all set up.
Do you have Sunrun in your area? I thought you made that was one of the videos I watched of yours early on. Where there's like not a lot of Sunruns, and I was like, oh wow, good point. So you might just have to call Billy's Electric, who's never even touched something like this, like down the road, to do this for you.
Yeah, and every day I alternate between, wow, Ford is a great company and thank God they exist, and then the next day I'm like, they are screwing people left and right. Like every day it switches, and I think on one of the days I was feeling more pessimistic. I was like, they're kind of lying by omission. Like they keep mentioning Sunrun, great. And then you go to their website and it's like, they don't even supply half of the United States. Like they don't even operate. But I think the most recent info was like, you call Sunrun and they will help you find a qualified electrician in your area to help get it installed. So it could be worse. They're not just hanging you out to dry. But it'd be nice if Ford mentioned that in their live stream. Like, hey, odds are you don't live where Sunrun operates. But I do, not to take the reins, but you mentioned something in a video of yours that I just watched today, which it's like the render of the electric.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and I guess just, do you think that'll become a reality? And is it something you're interested in?
First of all, I can't believe the positive feedback I got on that video. Whenever I run with like rumor mill stuff, people like say, this will never happen. This will never happen. Every single person, not that I got like a million comments or something, but so many people love the idea of the Ranger, and I kind of flipped my mind and I want it now too. Like, I think here's the one reason I don't think that it'll happen. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with like pricing. How can they build a Ranger to come in under 40K. Like that's the pricing you would expect for a base Ranger EV almost. So maybe they keep Ford Lightning pricing as is, but then they make it like 39K and then it scales up to the mid-range we were hoping for with the Lightning. That's the only way I see it fitting. But because it shares the same frame as the Bronco, that's what I really want. I want an EV Bronco more than maybe anything in the world.
Yeah, I had a Bronco reservation, obviously a internal combustion, and ultimately canceled it. But yeah, watching your video got me hyped because, Larry, I can predict our future. The next 10 years is just us reserving every off-road EV that comes out and then making content for 2 years on each vehicle until the next one gets delivered into our driveway. That doesn't sound too bad for me.
Except you forgot the part where my wife divorces me, I lose my house, and all the things that come along from doing that.
You only see the kids every other weekend, and so my follow-up question for you was going to be, what price do you think the electric Ranger is going to start at? Because exactly like you said, how are they going to charge less than $40,000? But if they do, I mean, they have to charge less than 40, or else why would anybody buy the Ranger? I mean, that would be, to me, it's like you said, more of a Rivian competitor. It's affordable. So I got to keep my ear to the ground for when that one, if that becomes a reality. And because I would slap $100 down for that. I think so too. And for sure.
Ford's due to have new ones coming out soon. So like, oh shoot, my headphone just died. Can you hear me still? Okay.
Yeah.
Apologize if the audio gets weird here. You're coming in through my computer, but that was to the audience.
I did hear my voice echo.
Hopefully,
though.
I think this should reduce it enough. We'll find out because I don't have my other earbud down here.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm leaving all this in, by the way.
Old school. This is the joy of behind the scenes. We're doing it live.
You know what's fun is these headphones I have here are green, so it'll key out in the green screen.
Yeah, it's like magic. Nobody will
so no one will see them. It looks like I have floating earmuffs, probably.
Yeah.
So sorry. Can you say again what the last thing you mentioned was? Oh yeah, pricing for the Ranger.
Yeah.
And I have one more thought on it, which is why I'll continue. I bet they raise the price of the Lightning and then they bring the Ranger back in at 40. That's what they're gonna do. Let's be for real. The sad reality.
Yeah, but again, I would put money down for it. The Bronco, an electric Bronco. Even that weird little Toyota concept that they had. There was like one picture that was circulated to the internet. It's like orange and blue. It's kind of tinier than what I was imagining, but yeah, it looks great. I would buy that too.
Let me ask one more question.
Yeah.
If there was like a really budget, like a 30,000 like electric Maverick, would you go for that?
Yeah. Oh man, the Maverick. I love that truck, but it bums me out because it fell victim to what every other car fell victim to. They were like $19,000 starting price. No company has ever done this before. And I looked, I'm like, okay, they're 39,000 now. Like what? So I look forward to when those get back to being affordable. But yeah, I think that's the form factor that is best for me anyways. I live in...
It might be for me too.
And so someday, once I've got kids and I'm married, that'll be a reality and I will reserve it and I will drive it. But I also try not to get carried away with that because it's already hard enough waiting for the Lightning, and that's probably 12 months away for me. And then I'm like... The Maverick isn't even a glimmer in anybody's eye yet at Ford, the electric Maverick. And so I'm like, I don't want to torture myself with how cool that's going to be in 12 years when it finally becomes a thing.
It's going to be hard to pick out a car once there's a truck. When there's a selection of EVs that you could get, it's going to be hard. I don't know what I'll do. But I want to, because we're kind of pinching in on the hour mark here. I have one more thing I want us to talk about.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me switching this, I wanted to get your thoughts talking about the, because it's a truck that we don't talk about a lot, the GMC Hummer.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is a truck. You forget, or I forget that there's the SUV version too, and I almost always see that. But anyway, I'm bringing this up. I want to make a full video on this still, but okay, I actually have a couple things to say. So first of all, we have quarter 1 production numbers across the board. So that means any day now we're going to find out if Ford hit their cap on tax incentives. So they might be running out soon. I haven't been able to find their exact EV numbers, but it will be close. Yeah. I think it's something like projected at 60,000. Which they will go over. So if it's less than that, we all might get a discount on our Lightnings, but if not, we probably won't get the huge discount. That big roundabout saying numbers for the GMC are in, and I know I already told you this before, so I won't have you guess, but guess how, but I'm going to say it anyway. Guess how many Hummers have been released into the wild?
Ooh. It's less than I thought. I'll tell you that.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it if your guests are bringing along.
No, you let them know.
Your viewers. But yeah, I mean, 99. Winner, chicken dinner. It's less than I thought.
Plus 1 from last quarter, so a total of 100 now.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think when you look at the price point of the Hummer, I think they probably love it. They love that it's exclusive, and they're like unicorns. Oh my God, I spotted one today. You know, I don't think they're in any rush. It's so expensive that they make $1 bajillion on every one they sell. So I think they kind of like the cool factor.
If it was more affordable, would you consider one of those?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, price is my main thing.
It's cool.
Like the Rivian, the Hummer, they're both incredible vehicles. I just can't afford them is the reality. I can afford a $40,000 truck. I saw have you seen the Hummer? You went to I remember your video about the auto show. Did you get to see a Hummer there?
I have not seen one in person.
It's gigantic. It's a monster truck. It's incredible.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Is it too big?
Yeah, it's too big for a city. It's more than anyone needs. It's even too big for off-roading. Like even though it's so capable, like I owned a Wrangler a few years ago, and I know you're high on the 4xe right now.
A little bit.
Yeah. But when you're on those trails, you've got trees on either side of you, and like no Hummer is going to fit on a lot of these off-road trails, but it's an incredible vehicle, and it looks, I mean, it looks amazing in person. My takeaway when I went to the Chicago Auto Show was that nobody really seemed to be too interested in it. But
really?
Yeah, what's your take on the 99? You were expecting more? Because they're like a legacy automaker, you thought they'd be cranking them out?
Well, Mary Barra is up talking how they're leading EVs right now. So this is their chance. This was their quarter to come in with numbers. I have the numbers here for the Spark too. So their total EVs. All right. So the Bolt, not the Spark.
Yeah.
Guess what their total, this will be a fun game, total EV production of last quarter was?
In the last quarter of 2021?
Yeah, so we just wrapped up 2022's quarter like a couple days ago. Gotcha. Guess what they did in the last 3 months?
Total EV sales.
You already know it's at least 99.
Yeah, greater than 99. I'll say 7,000.
457.
Oh no. Yeah.
So as excited as we are about the Silverado, GM has work to do. Like, I'd love to see him out there. I don't know if GM really well, the Lyric's coming soon, right? So we'll have that, but I just frankly have doubts in GM right now. As much as I want everyone to succeed. I want to see all of these EVs out there, but I don't know. They have less than Rivian.
Yeah.
And Rivian,
yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
Well, this brings me to one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and you've probably mentioned it before. But what if money was no object? What EV truck would you be purchasing today? Ugh. And let's say they're in the lot. You can take one home today.
Man, does Cybertruck count?
Yeah, Cybertruck's real now, and they've got a bunch of them.
You know what? I think it might actually be the GMC is just too big. That's the only thing keeping me from saying that. I think it's too big, and I even think the Lightning's a little too big.
Yeah.
Here's why I like because you can remove the roof on the Hummer, right?
Which is a feature I fell in love with on the Wrangler, and now every car I want to have a removable roof.
Dude, my wife and I took a vacation in Florida, and I had a Mustang convertible the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
I never want a roof again.
Right.
I want a Wrangler now just for that reason.
I looked very seriously at the 4xe.
Yeah.
And I decided it wasn't maybe the right time, but yeah, those are really cool cars. And the removable top, you're like, oh, but this has a sunroof. That'll be the same. No, you're lying to yourself. It never will be the same.
Man, I've mentioned this a ton too. That should be the name of this episode. I know I've mentioned this a ton already, but
yeah.
The Model Y, 80% of why I bought it was that roof, right? It's an all glass roof.
Yeah.
I hate it. It's so tinted. You can't even see the sun. It doesn't do what you hope it would do. Like, it's cool to look at.
And it's fixed, right? It's glued in place. You can't. Oh, yeah. There's no sliding.
No, it's just a glass roof that is very tinted.
Yeah. It might as well just be like fabric.
I don't know.
Well, I have like 3 rapid fire questions for you if you've got time.
I love it. You should be the new host because I would have just kept rambling.
No, well, just to again give you a shout out for being so cool and doing this with me.
Oh,
I've been drafting questions like this for like 2 months. I've been so hyped to talk to you.
Well, because it took us that long to book it.
Yeah. It's like kids kept getting sick and
Joseph can't do this day, I can't do this day, and then blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But we made it.
Yep.
We did it.
We made it. We're here. So rapid fire.
Yeah, hit me.
We already talked about when you knew you wanted the Lightning. What feature is not available on your trim, which when I wrote this, I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, sure.
But what feature isn't available on your trim that you wish was available?
I might flip that question. I think I started this thinking I needed phone as key. I needed all that tech stuff. Living with my vehicle now, and like I still drive my wife's 2015 semi-fully loaded Jeep Grand Cherokee. Doesn't even have Apple CarPlay. I love that vehicle. And the base Lightning is going to have everything that has. Like, I think I'm flipping that to saying, maybe I really don't need all this stupid stuff that's going to make me spend an extra $20K on a truck. Like, we'll see though. I still have like
it only took 1 hour for me to. It only took 1 hour for me to convince you that the Pro is the trim for you.
Maybe.
Let's see. So I wanted to. Here's another fun game. Real quick, place a bet on when you think you will take delivery of your Ford Lightning.
Ooh,
I know this is just insane. Only because in a year we'll be able to look back and be like, wow, we were off by so much.
So when I can make my order or when it'll be in my driveway?
When it will be in your driveway. The real deal.
My dream, I think, hopefully, because I did get confirmation I'm rather high on the list at my dealership. So this summer, I should be able to make my order. And so I will give it all fall to be made. And I will say October 25th.
Of 2022?
Of this year.
Oh, man. Okay. I'm right there with you. But again, I said I'm optimistic. Yeah, I'm hoping for winter of 22. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Guess that's it, man. We'll see. In a year, we'll be able to look back on this video and be like, we're either driving around in our Lightnings or we're still waiting.
Yeah.
There's a video of a guy taking delivery of his Bronco. This just happened like a month ago. And he's like on his knees crying in the lot.
God.
And I'm like, God, I hope I don't get to that. It's really cool to be that passionate.
I guess.
But I really hope it doesn't. I hope we don't get to that level of hysteria.
You know that guy's been through a lot.
Long.
He's been through an emotional roller coaster.
By damn, he wanted that hard top, and he was going to wait 24 months for it. Yeah,
I feel him. Well, man, this has been awesome. I think we can definitely My camera stopped recording. We went so long. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Yeah, again, this has been awesome. Your channel. Let everyone know. Of course, it'll be in the description and stuff. Yeah. But where can everybody find you?
It's just my name, Joseph Herzog. Apparently, there's a guy with the same name that does wine tasting. So that's not me. If you you could watch him after. Yeah, he's got great content. But just search Joseph Herzog Lightning and you'll find me. So come check out my videos and maybe smash the subscribe.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good, man. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye.